Hello, friends. Tammy Cranage here with Loan Depot. Welcome to another edition of Mortgage Dish, where we dish all things mortgages. So today we're going to talk about two strategies that are going to help buyers and sellers in this ever-changing real estate market that we are all part of. Now, existing home inventory is up 22% from its lowest level in February. That's good for sellers who are still trying to capitalize on this hot market. But we've also seen an increase in inventory, which makes purchasing a home a little easier for our buyers out there. More inventory on the market gives buyers more options. And I'll tell you, paying 20% over ask is not one of those options. Buyers are concerned about overpaying for a house in addition to paying a higher mortgage interest rate. So now we have sellers who are being forced to reduce their price or otherwise get creative with some strategies to help their house stand out. So what are some of those strategies look like? Well, first we have a permanent buy down and a temporary buy down. So the first option is a permanent buy down, and it means just that. It's permanently buying the interest rate down. So here's how it works. Rather than the seller lower his price by a certain dollar amount, he could contribute to the buyer's points and buy the interest rate down lower for the buyer. Why don't you just lower the interest? Why don't you just lower the sales price? Well, let me show you an example. I'm going to share my screen with you. So just give me a second here. All right. So here we have a home that is listed for $899. But the seller does not want to pay $899. Buyer wants to pay $825. So the buyer is going to offer $825. 20% down gives them a mortgage payment of $660 with a 5% interest rate and a total principal and interest payment of $3543. That means the seller has to reduce his price by $74,000. Seller is not willing to do that. So what can you do? Well, they can keep their price of $899. But instead of the buyer paying 5% interest, they can pay 4.375 interest. Now, that's going to cost the seller $20,000 instead of $74,000. So would you think that's a much better compromise? Now look at this. So remember, over here at $825 with 20% down, your payment is $3543. So you're still putting 20% down. The buyer is still putting 20% down. But now with this lower interest rate, look at that payment, $3590. It's a difference of $47. So seller still gets his price of $899. Buyer gets his payment at $3590. So now, instead of being at a $74,000 impasse, we are at a $47 a month impasse. So that is just one example of how the permanent buy down. Now this rate will stay this way for the entire time that the buyers are in this loan. And the buyers also benefit from the higher price point because now it goes on public record that the house was sold for $899. So now another example is a temporary buy down. Now the temporary buy down is just that. You buy the interest rate down temporarily. Now the effects are much more powerful. However, it's only temporary. So let's see how this one works. Now in this example, the interest rate is reduced. There's a couple of different ways to do it. But in this example, we're going to use a 2-1 buy down, which means whatever the interest rate is at the time, in our example, 5.5% is the interest rate. So in year one, the buyer is going to pay 3.5% interest. In year two, he's going to pay 4.5% interest. And then in year 3 through 30, it's going to be 5% interest. What? Does this make sense? How's this going to work? Let me show you. All right, let me share my screen. All right, sharing my screen. Okay, here's how it works. We have a listing price of $460. We're going to put down 10%. Our buyers are going to put down 10%, and they're going to have a 5.5% interest rate. But they don't want to pay $460. they want to pay $430. So at $430, they're going to have 5.5% interest. Their payment is going to be $3113. That includes taxes and insurance in this example. Now, the price reduction is, this is going to be a $30,000 price reduction for our sellers. They don't want to take a $30,000 price reduction. So what can we do? The sellers can get their price at $460, and our buyers can have a temporary interest rate of 3.5%. So in year one, their monthly payment is going to be $2782. Now, they're going to save $491 per month, even if they go over the 5.5% option. So they're going to save $491 a month, or $5,892 in the first year. In year two, they're going to save $253 a month and have, or a total of $3,036 over 12 months. So now they've saved a total of $8,928 just by this payment. And our seller gets his price and our buyer gets his payment. So what does it cost to the buyer? And what does it cost to the seller? So by doing this, the seller has to pay the buyer at closing an additional $9,000 to get this program. So if you're selling your house, would you rather reduce your price by $30,000, or would you rather buy the client's interest rate down by 2 points for the first 2 years? So again, just some more options to help you understand how these programs work. There's a more detailed is found on YouTube. If you would like more information or a customized approach, I'm happy to put one of these together for your clients. So the best way to navigate in this market is to always know what your options are and to be a little creative. So I'm Tammy Cranage. I'm a certified mortgage advisor and a black belt mortgage coach strategist. And I am here to help you find solutions. Thanks so much for watching. Until next